Welcome back to Black Belt Breakthroughs. Here we blend science-backed tools with amazing techniques like mindfulness, NLP, and visualization to help you take charge of your mind and enhance your everyday life. I'm Will Deek, a professor and passionate martial arts practitioner. I spent years diving into mindfulness, NLP, and visualization, and I've had the pleasure of helping hundreds of clients along their journeys. Now, let's get started on yours by introducing you to some NLP techniques you can use to squash your limiting beliefs. Now, the biggest problem with limiting beliefs is how they silently sabotage every area of your life. Have you ever noticed how you can talk yourself out of some amazing opportunities? You tell yourself to skip applying for the dream job. You avoid asking someone out, or you pass on new experiences, all while telling yourself, well, I'm just being realistic. And I want you to know that the solution isn't positive thinking or affirmations. These tools only address the symptoms. Like all good treatments, you need to target the root cause. These are the neural pathways in your brain that are automatically generating these negative thoughts. That's where the 3 NLP techniques I'm sharing with you today come in. They're practical tools you can use to transform your limiting beliefs at their source. Are you ready to rewire your thinking patterns? Let's begin with a quick understanding of how your brain creates limiting beliefs. Have you ever noticed how that voice in your head seems to know exactly what to say to stop you in your tracks? It's not random. It's your brain operating on autopilot. Let me share something personal. Last year, I was offered a chance to speak at a conference about NLP. Talk about a dream opportunity. But the night before, a little voice kicked in saying, "What do you think you are? You're not qualified for this." As I listened, my heart raced, my hands got clammy, and I almost called to cancel. That moment showed me how powerful these thoughts can paralyze us all. Does that sound familiar? These limiting beliefs aren't just annoying thoughts, they're actual physical pathways in your brain. Think of neural connections like roads. The more you travel down a particular thought pattern, like "I'm not good enough," the wider that road becomes. Eventually, it builds a superhighway for that belief to travel on. This is where the science gets super exciting. Your brain has this amazing ability called neuroplasticity. This means it can literally rewire itself. Imagine your brain as a construction site that's constantly building new roads and letting the old ones grow over. The good news is nothing in your brain is permanently fixed. Everything can be changed. When you repeatedly think negative thoughts, your brain strengthens those neural pathways until they feel like absolute truth. These limiting beliefs trigger real physical responses. Your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol, causing your heart rate to increase, and suddenly your body is in full-on fight or flight mode. Now, there's a good chance these protective mechanisms actually made sense at one time. Maybe the belief of "don't say anything in class" kept you from raising your hand and giving the wrong answer as a child. Fast forward to today, and your brain thinks it's keeping you safe by not offering up any information in meetings. But now it's just holding you back. The good news? Those neural highways aren't permanent. Leading brain researcher Dr. Patrick Porter explains that with the right techniques, we can reshape our brain's wiring, fostering new beliefs and thinking patterns that support our goals. This makes change possible even after years of self-doubt. Top performers don't fight negative thoughts head on. Instead, they use specific techniques like visualization to rewire their neural pathways, replacing negative self-talk with constructive thoughts. So, what's your negative belief dragon? Think about it and write it down, because that's the one we're going to slay together starting today. Hey, you know that dragon you just identified? Here's something mind-blowing. What if it's actually wearing a costume? Underneath all those scary scales is just a thought pattern your brain created based on a handful of experiences decided were super important in the past. And get this, most of our limiting beliefs form before we're 7 years old. These childhood created dragons are often running on outdated programming that's decades old. Let's grab our first weapon, the reframing technique and show that belief who's really in charge. Those limiting beliefs feel absolutely true because your brain presents them as facts, not opinions. They're actually interpretations of experiences you've had that are more like flimsy memories. Think about it like this. Something happens and your brain quickly assigns meaning to it, and then over time, that meaning hardens into what feels like concrete truth. What's wild is how these beliefs create their own reality. When you believe something strongly, you unconsciously filter your experiences to confirm what you already think is true. It's like wearing special glasses that only let you see evidence that supports your beliefs while blocking everything else out. These belief systems get supercharged by cognitive distortions. There's all or nothing thinking, which is you're either perfect or a total failure. Catastrophizing that always assumes the worst possible outcome. And mind reading, which is believing that you know what others think about you. Let me show you how this works in the real world. My client, Sarah, she was stuck in a job she hated because she believed she wasn't qualified for anything better. Her exact words were, "I don't have the right experience." Through our work, she discovered how to reframe this to, "I bring unique perspectives and fresh ideas that others don't have in my field." Guess what? Within 3 months, she landed her new job, which was her dream position. Ready to try this for yourself? Here's how. First, write down that limiting belief and identify which type of distortion it contains. Second, gather evidence that contradicts this belief. Even the smallest examples count. Third, and finally, use the pattern interrupt technique that when limiting belief pops up, physically clap your hands and say cancel, cancel, then immediately replace your old limiting belief with your new reframed statement. This 30-second exercise literally disrupts those automatic negative thoughts in its tracks. The pattern interrupt technique is just your first weapon against limiting beliefs. But what if you could tap into a reservoir of positive emotional states whenever you needed them? Olympic athletes and top CEOs already use this technique. It's a simple physical trigger that just takes seconds to activate, but completely transforms their mental state before high-pressure situations. This is the incredible power of anchoring, which in essence is creating your own emotional on switch. While most people depend on external circumstances to feel confident or calm, you can generate these feelings on demand. What's truly amazing is your brain is already making these connections naturally. For instance, that summer playlist hits and suddenly you're transported back to the beach sitting by a bonfire with your friends. You walk into the kitchen when the aroma of chocolate chip cookies fills your nostrils and instantly you're flooded with warm childhood memories. These are everyday examples of natural anchors that have been formed without any effort at all. But the real magic happens when we create these connections intentionally. Anchoring works through neuro-linguistic programming. It's connecting your brain processes, language, behavioral patterns, and when you pair specific physical action with a powerful emotional state repeatedly, your brain creates a neural pathway between them. Eventually, the action alone triggers the emotions. Let's create your confidence anchor right now. Think about a time when you felt absolutely unstoppable. Close your eyes and step back into that memory. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the sensations in your body. As those feelings peak, press your index finger into the middle of your forearm like this. Take a deep breath and hold it there for 5 seconds while experiencing that confident state. Now, repeat this process at least 5 times using the exact same gesture, only activating that anchor when you are fully experiencing that powerful state. This strengthens your state-dependent memory and association. Here's your game changer. Spend 2 minutes each morning when your brain is most receptive, activating your anchor wire, visualizing yourself handling today's challenges with complete confidence. This daily practice literally strengthens the neural connections associated with your positive emotional states. Elite performers across industries use this technique. Professional athletes trigger their anchors before stepping onto the fields. Business leaders use theirs before negotiation to activate unshakable confidence. Now that you know how to anchor positive states, let's look at your third NLP weapon, the parts integration technique. So, have you ever worked super hard on changing a belief only to find yourself sliding back into that old pattern days later? I want you to know it's not because you're doing something wrong or because you lack willpower. There's actually a fascinating tug of war happening that explains everything inside your mind. You've got different parts that sometimes want different things. One part of you might be pushing hard for growth and change, while the other is frantically trying to keep you safe and protected. These two parts are butting heads. Well, no wonder when you constantly want to change, you feel that something is sabotaging your efforts, because something is. Parts integration is a powerful NLP technique that helps you identify and resolve those inner conflicts that are keeping your limiting beliefs stubbornly in place. What makes this approach unique is that instead of you fighting against that limiting belief, you're actually communicating with the voices inside your head, creating them. That inner critic telling you you're not good enough isn't your enemy. It's actually a part of you trying to protect you from rejection, failure, or pain. But until you recognize this protective intention, change is going to feel difficult. Try this quick exercise. Close your eyes and visualize the part holding your limiting belief. Give it a shape in your mind. Now, imagine sitting down with this part and asking, what are you trying to do for me? Listen to its answer. Now tell it, thank you for trying to protect me all these years. I appreciate what you've done. One of my clients discovered their belief, I'm not good enough, was actually shielding them from the pain of failure. Through this dialogue, they uncovered its positive attention and then created a new way of dealing with the issue, satisfying both their need for growth and for security. Here's where the magic happens. It's when you acknowledge the part's good intentions and then offer it a new way to fulfill that same purpose. For example, I appreciate you keeping me safe, but we can find better ways to do this together that still allow me to grow. This integration process transforms limiting beliefs into empowering ones that honor both achievement and emotional safety, creating lasting change as all parts begin working together as a unified team. All right, we're almost at the end of today's lessons on conquering the dragons of limiting beliefs. And I want to say, amazing work. Now it's time to document your hero's journey in the real world. This week, I challenge you to keep a transformational journey, tracking moments when old beliefs try sneaking back in and how you victoriously rewrite those neural pathways. When you successfully challenge a limiting thought, write it down. Science confirms this practice literally creates new neural circuits in your brain. As I always say, the only limits that exist are the ones you create. That's neuroscience in action. So let me end by asking, what limiting belief will you transform this week? And what specific action will you take today? Share it in the comments. Our community and I are here to support you as you continue writing your brain's new story. Now go out there and show your brain some real love. You've got this, and your mind will thank you. Let's make every day a little more mindful and a whole lot more awesome. Finally, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that subscribe button. It's a quick and free way to support us, and we'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to check out the links to our social media, podcast, and website down below. Thanks for being part of our community. This is Will Deek wishing you only success.